the second thing that's on your playbook that you need to do, which is slingshot past your competitors. Is anyone here kind of an astronomy fan, or you look at stars or comets, or a few people, you'd be proud of that. Be like, yeah, astronomy, there you go, okay, good. So this is how you slingshot around a planet, okay? So what you do is you take your spacecraft, which has velocity here, here's a planet. The planet is moving at a certain rate. You go around the planet, and when you come out after the planet, you can actually be at up to 2 times the speed of the planet plus your speed when you entered. This is called the Slingshot Effect. Anyone seen the movie Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks? Okay, this is how he got home. Okay, the Slingshot Effect. So, how as a new growing company with lots of larger competitors and players, how can you use this to your advantage? So this is how to slingshot past a larger company. This is you. This is your company. This is your brand. This is your product. And this is your larger competitor who's much more well known. And they already have PR coverage, but you're new. So what we want to do is leverage everything they're doing here, slingshot around it to propel us forward and make us larger, more important, bigger, and better at a faster rate. So this is the surprising thing. If your competitors have been getting great coverage, great exposure, that's good news for you. And here's the playbook way. So to create a PR slingshot, we can leverage the earned media coverage of your competitors. And here's the playbook. Number 1, and this is the first 3 are in the first 30 days. Search for all competitor earned media coverage in the past 12 months. So at PR Hacker, we onboard a new client. We're like, okay, you have larger competitors. We're going to search. And we have tools that we've kind of built and put and kind of hacked together to do this that helps us look and say, okay, all your competitors, what coverage have they gotten in the past 12 months? Second thing, we take all that coverage, and we have some tools to help us do this, that maps that to a comprehensive list of media contacts. Right? So now you've looked at all their coverage. You got competitor A, B, and C. They have certain media contacts who've written those stories. And now we have a list of those contacts. Step 2. Step 3. We pitch the media list with a story that highlights our competitive edge. So even within that first 30 days, we're going out to all of those media contacts that has ever written a story about our competitor. And we're not just going out with a story that says, hey, you wrote a story about our competitor. This is us. No, we're highlighting competitive advantage and a story in a way that has value to the end audience, something we call a story-based approach. So it's not about what we're trying to communicate, it's how do we add value to the end audience. Okay? So those first 3 things, all of a sudden right there, what we're doing is every outlet that ever covered our competitor, that has demonstrated an interest in our topic, we're leveraging all that work our competitor had to do, right? Maybe they did it themselves, maybe they had a PR firm, they had to do a lot of pitching, they had to figure out where are all the places where stories can run, who's going to run this? And we can do that for ourselves, we will, but why not leverage all of that work for our advantage? And in fact, number 4, track competitor earned media coverage on an ongoing basis, okay? Track competitor earned media coverage on an ongoing basis. So as there are more hits that they get, we could actually leverage that into more coverage for us and target those covering competitors with new stories that overshadow them. Okay, so let me give you an example that will make all of this make sense. So this is for a client we just started with this week. So we're implementing all of this now, and I kind of hid their name just so to not kind of put the world on notice about their media coverage. But up until this point, they're a smaller company, a smaller brand that faces off against a really big brand that has about 66% global market share. But they're a small startup that potentially can grow fast, and they have potentially a better product than the market leader. So this is what we did. We ran these numbers, and this is on the left side right there is global news. So that is the market leaders is generating about 5,000 in 3 months, 5,000 sort of media coverage items, something that they were mentioned in the media. Now that startup is a tiny, tiny fraction of that right now. Now if we look here at social media, that market leader is generating about 26,000 social media posts of some sort in a 3-month period. Our market leader, I think they were at 400 or 500 or something like that, right? So that's a big discrepancy, but can we do that? Can we leverage that to suddenly accelerate, like the Slingshot Effect, our startup, okay? So I want to show you an example in which we did that. So this is a case study, which is Ambronite. And we did a lot of testing on the messaging in preparation for their first launch. And this is, we came up with the world's first drinkable super meal. Okay, what they do is basically they are able to create a powder, but it's from all whole foods. So they actually ground a powder of whole foods, real foods, into what would be the kind of recommended daily nutrients that you need from food if you drank their shake. Okay, so we have a new product. At the time, they don't have really any customers. They're launching. One challenge is it's a premium product. It's like really good food that they're pulverizing, but it has kind of a higher price tag as a result. So how do we then not start from scratch and have to educate and build people? How do we slingshot around a larger competitor? And so here's the larger competitor, which was Soylent. Okay? So Soylent was much more well known. And so what we did here, and you can see, you can't really see it here, but I highlighted it. We started out by building that list of every place Soylent has gotten coverage, targeting, turning those into contacts with journalists, and reaching out with our competitive edge, our competitive advantage, which was a higher quality product, right? And we had lots of stories. So we had stories for all these outlets on, okay, if you're traveling, how to stay healthy even when you're on the go. And okay, you're an executive at a company and you have 10 minutes for lunch, how to have a lunch that gives you energy for the afternoon, just doesn't make you tired. But so we created these new stories, these new story ideas, but we took the shortcut. We leveraged all the people that had covered Soylent before. So this is Time Magazine running the headline. You can see Soylent has some competition, and we taste tested it, right? We're leveraging that coverage, the larger player. This is Wired Magazine. Premium Soylent rival fuels the food drink revolution. Okay? We're piggybacking on them to get coverage we probably otherwise couldn't get. Fast Company. Soylent meets Whole Foods. Ambronite is an organic high-end meal replacement shake. U.S. News & World Report, meals of the future. Will Soylent and Ambronite make food obsolete? Not too bad for us because we're being put side by side with them, and they're a much bigger player, much more well-known at this point. Ars Technica. If Soylent makes you nervous, you might like Ambronite, but it's not cheap. Okay? So all of that there is leveraging those bigger players to slingshot. So I think we have this tendency to startups to be, okay, we're coming into this new market. Wow, there's these big players. We have to grow fast. Our investors are saying we need growth yesterday. How are we going to ever compete with these bigger players? Because they have millions of dollars to spend on this. We don't. Instead, if you shift your perception and think, oh, wow, they've paved this road for me. I can slingshot on what they've already have done and, in fact, supersede them. Then you're going to accelerate and supercharge your growth. Okay, so upon launching the product, Ambronite sold $100,000 in product in the first 30 days with no in-store distribution, simply by doing this and simply by leveraging the slingshot process.